I'm Jada, and my year is class of 2025. I like how stories are told through video games, and I want to try my hand at it.
And what's your sexuality if you're comfortable sharing?
Somewhere in Pan, I think. Somewhere in there.
Do you think there's any correlation between your how you identify and your major?
I want to say they correlate, but they do enhance. Queer folk tend to have a way of telling stories in a very nuanced way, not in the usual way. And games can help expand that even more.
You said in a nuanced and unusual way. Can you give me an example? Like, what do you mean by that?
You know how queer folk tend to have be shunned from the society or ostracized in some way. The best way I can describe it is that they take that and they make art out of it, whether it be intense, whether it be beautiful, ugly, it's many forms. Um, Games are also in the same vein of that as that, but queers going into the gaming community is taking a while, but as you can see, it's getting larger each year.
So you said that queer people are ostracized.
Yeah.
Do you think the sudden spike of women, non-binary people, and queer people in the game community is because of the lack of representation in video games?
I mean, they could play a hand in it, but it's not the only thing. Um, Also, video games are becoming more mainstream in general, and with mainstream comes everyone else. So queer folk is just part of that.
Do you think because, especially with our generation, identifying as a part of the LGBT, since that's becoming quote unquote mainstream, and video games is also becoming mainstream, that since they're parallel, like they're growing parallel, that has a partner as well?
Yes, definitely. Um, Gaming is like Times Square. A bunch of people mingle in the same place. Um, you got black people. You got queer folk. You have artists, programmers, nerds, not nerds, sports geeks, so on and so forth. It's just everywhere. You can't really avoid it. It's even in your Peloton if you want to say that because there's games in it. So all types of folks.
My name is Aaron Kuthor. I am a international senior student in the Tisch School of Arts, studying specifically game design. Uh, I'm an international student from Hong Kong, to be clear.
And what's your sexuality?
It's it's pansexual. I don't know how I forgot there.
Um, so what inspires you? Like, why did you want to be a game design major?
So, at first I wanted to be a writer, but then as I started writing, not only did I feel like writing descriptions was really hard for me, but also just the idea that like I felt like I would want to convey a specific vision to people, and also this idea that I want the stories I have to be fully interactive in ways that you would change decisions just based on what you would do, not specifically on your choices. And I felt that games was just something that would encapsulate that perfectly. And also, I'm someone who's just played video games all my life, so making games is kind of just something that was really like an easy decision for me.
Is there anything other than video games that inspire you, like what you make?
Especially my interests, I feel like inspire me. Like I I'm really into like cowboys, samurais, pirates specific, like especially, um, and like games do influence me a lot. But like I definitely take influence from like movies, from books I've read, from philosophies I've learned, because I like the idea of exploring all these different things and just these different ideas in which like things are explored. And like I do think as a person I like the idea of focusing on specific things. Like focusing on, well, one of the things I want to focus on is like the idea of obsession, or this like idea of losing yourself into what you love. Like that's like a very classic thing for artists, and I feel like there's a lot of who I am that I want to explore, and I want to present within the art I make.
What are some games that you're working on now, or like you wish to make?
So there are a lot of games I want to make. One thing that I feel like is just me is this idea of very different genres, styles, and presentations. Like one of the games I would love to make is this game where you're a paper person who delivers pizza, and you deliver pizza to like different towns, and eventually as you go to different, like more and more different towns, each of them you see has different animation styles. Like one is felt puppets, another is action figures, claymation, like sculpture, like all that. Even like puppeteering was one of the ideas we also had. How this would be done, I have no idea, and I'm hoping to figure that out later. And then another one was a game that actually I had because of a dream. It was a game idea I got because of a dream. Sorry, was like you're a detective investigating a murder, but then it's found out that the murder was done by a cryptid, and then the plot twist is you knew that from the beginning, and because now you know how the murder was done, you have to pin it on someone else to protect the identity of the cryptid. This is a game I've thought of since high school, and I still really want to work on it. And just a couple. Like I feel like thinking about game ideas is really easy for me. It's just working on them is the hard part.
What is your experience being queer?
So, I think only recently, I really felt this like identity of mine. Like for a while in Hong Kong, I knew I was bisexual, but in Hong Kong, like sexuality is very not spoken of, like that or gender. I think I only knew 2 trans people, and even then, I didn't even realize that they were trans. I just like that wasn't something that was talked about, or like, and like there was no pride parades, but when I grew up, and it just really like pissed me off. But when I came to America, I was able to explore myself, my sexuality, my gender. It's because of classes in NYU that I was able to realize that I just wasn't a guy, and I even found out I was aromantic because of classes here, because they just like certain experiences that I thought were just normal. It's like, oh wait, no, that's just a completely different thing, and I feel like I'm still learning. Like I feel like because of this environment I'm in, I've been able to like, but because of the environment I'm in, I've like, I've been around other like I I feel like I have like any cishet friends I have, just it's either very minimal, or they're realizing they're not het, or they're realizing they're not cis. It's like that. Like one of my best friends, who I'm pretty I've known for a while, cishet. Like we were talking, and she was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm starting to feel like I'm bisexual," and stuff like that. It's just like, I feel like I just am surrounded by that, and I would very much prefer that, because I feel like I'm around people that understand me compared to how I was in Hong Kong. It's unique. It's a very unique experience for everybody, and I feel like to say it isn't is stupid.
You said you have friends who aren't cishet. Did you meet them at the game center?
Yes. I have a roommate situation where I live with 5 other people. All of us, like 4, including me, are trans. And everyone is. I don't think there's any person that's het. And like 1 is asexual, 2 are bisexual, 1 is gay. 1, we just jokingly say like, he's and then we just never say anything. And all my friends at the game center, like I are just of different genders, of different like things, and it's just like I feel like I have been able to only have this really unique experience because I'm in the game center and I'm in like the NYU.
Do you think there's a correlation, like a valid correlation between being queer and studying at the game center?
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of like it's like that thing where it's just like you know the idea that people in IT are there's a lot of like trans women in computer science, or there's a lot of furries in IT. It's like I think there might be a correlation, but also there just might not be. I feel like specifically the game center, yes, because NYU is a liberal college. New York is a very liberal state. People want like I could have gone to DigiPen, but that would have been very just like corporate. While here's like there's an emphasis on indie, and the indie space is just filled with queer. Like there's literally like games made by people of color. That's like I don't know the exact name, but that's like a thing. And then like there's like conventions of people who are like, oh yeah, here's games made by queer people, and like here you're able to like play other people like, and I also like it's just like there. I do surround myself by people who are like not that are queer. There are people who aren't queer that exist in the game center. It's not like they're a minority either. I feel like there's no minorities that exist other than like very specific cases, and I just think that people exist and people are free to exist how they wish in the game center.